Booyaka shot. Yeah. In this episode, I'm going to give you my recommendations for week 21 of the fantasy basketball season for the Sleeper app. Now, let's make some game picks. Welcome to the Game Pick Fantasy Basketball Podcast. I am your host, Robbin Marx. You can connect with me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Game Pick Podcast. If you love points leagues, dynasty, and sleepers' new game pick format, please consider subscribing on all channels. And please stick around until the end because I'm going to share my game pick sleeper of the week. Now let's jump into big time game picks for week 21 of the NBA season. So this show is going to be a little different. We're in the playoffs. Guys are like fighting for their lives. And I had some people on TikTok suggest that we go live so people could suggest the players that I review. If we have some people show up tonight, I'll gladly do that. But I'm going to go through some of the top players in fantasy either way, just to kind of give you some value. And I didn't plan this show. This is something that, I just kind of felt it like, you know what, let me jump in, go live, see if I can go ahead and bang this out and give you guys as much value as possible. So with that being said, the first person we want to talk about is Nikola Jokic. As you know, the Joker was injured for a little while, but he's was actually available and active on Sunday. So we imagine that he's going to be available and active for week 21. So he has a bunch of games on week 21. He has 4 games. Doesn't appear he has one back-to-back, the Wednesday and Thursday. On Wednesday, he has Sacramento, and on Thursday, he has Golden State. His highest projected point total is the Wednesday game at Sacramento. And honestly, looking at this, I think I would actually lean towards picking the Saturday game for him, although it's not his highest projected point total. His Saturday game versus Toronto, you could end the week strong with him, and also him on a back-to-back. There's a chance him coming off of an injury that they might sit him for one of those 2 games. So for me, I always try to keep that in mind when people are playing back-to-backs, and especially in game pick format where you only pick one game. So for me, I would recommend for the Joker to pick the Saturday game versus the Toronto Raptors. The next person we want to take a look at is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis has 3 games this week, and he also has no back-to-backs, so that's good to know. So for Giannis, it appears as if his highest projected point total is going to be Wednesday versus the Hawks at home, at his home in Milwaukee, and that seems like a good pick for me. For me, the front court for Atlanta, they've kind of not been clear on what they're doing. There's a lot of like moving parts with Okongwu and Capella. Do they want to give Okongwu more minutes? Is Capella their anchor? There's a lot of question marks around their front court. And although Giannis can play the 3, a lot of the damage that he does is in the paint. Like, he is scoring points in the paint like a machine. So if you have Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm going to fire him up for Wednesday versus Atlanta. It is his highest projected point total. Next up, we want to take a look at the King, LeBron James. LeBron absolutely went off last night. I think he dropped 55 points on Saturday night. Your man is trying to break the scoring record. He's trying to get Kareem's record. So he's putting up like remarkable numbers. So I'm going to say for the King, I had some doubts about whether or not they would actually rest him certain games or even shut him down for the season, depending on what was happening. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that he is clearly chasing stats right now for his legacy. He knows that his team doesn't have a shot on getting a title for sure, but maybe even making the playoffs. So I expect the same kind of production from him over the next couple of weeks, especially if you're in fantasy playoffs right now and you have LeBron James, you want to fire him up. So for me, my game pick for LeBron James is going to be the Saturday game versus the Golden State Warriors. And the reason I'm choosing that game is because he performed really well against them in this last game. So I would imagine that he has their number right now in terms of his personal production. Winning games at this point, I don't think is a priority. I think what he wants to do is get Kareem's record so he can go down in history as, one of, if not the greatest basketball player of all time. Next up, we want to talk about Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum for week 21, has 3 games, no back-to-backs. My game pick for Jason Tatum is going to be his highest projected point total, the Wednesday game at Charlotte. The Wednesday game at Charlotte. Next up, we have my main man, Luka Doncic. Luka for week 21, he has 4 games scheduled. He has no back-to-backs, and his highest projected point total is there's a huge jump compared to the other games. And that's something with game pick that you want to be mindful of. You want to use your gut, right? A lot of this is like we can't guarantee it. All we can do is use the statistics to the best of our ability, use the analytics to kind of come up with a picture of what our projections would be. There are numbers here on Sleeper, but as you know, if you've been playing Sleeper app, game pick format, they're not always the truth. You know what I'm saying? It's not always what comes to pass. They're not always accurate. With that being said, when you see a jump like this, for example, Monday versus Utah, he's projected to score 49.52 points. Wednesday versus the Knicks, Luka is projected to score 52.22 points. I'm sorry. Then check this out. On Friday at Houston, he's projected to score 59.04 fantasy points. And this is according to the standards on this standard format on Sleeper. I believe this one is a standard one, but I have like 9 accounts, so bear with me. And then on Sunday, he's projected to score 49.64 points. So when you see a big jump like that, 59 points compared to 49, 52, and 49, that's when you know, like, that's the game pick we want to go with. So my recommendation for Luka Doncic for week 21 is going to be the Friday game versus Houston. You know? So before we move any further, this week's Game Pick Sleeper of the Week is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy is the best place to play fantasy sports, including best ball, daily drafts, and pick'em. Start drafting in minutes for a shot at big cash and an enhanced game watching experience. Did I mention that Kevin Durant and Mark Cuban invested in Underdog? Once I heard about those cosigns, I had to spread the news. Sign up today and use the code GamePickPodcast. Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. It's like getting free money. Don't miss out on your chance to double up from the jump. To sign up, just download the Underdog Fantasy app on Android or iOS. Now, for our sleeper of the week, we're going to go with Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie from now the Dallas Mavericks. Spencer has 4 games this week, no back-to-backs. My recommendation for Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be the Friday again at Houston. I think that he actually has a really good opportunity to put up some numbers there. And also it's his highest projected point total. So make sure you play Spencer Dinwiddie. Very, very important. If I didn't mention your player, please do me a favor and drop a comment with your request. Please join our brand new Discord group if you need help with game picks, trades, dynasty questions, team names, the works. To join the server, just visit taplink.cc/gamepickpodcast. Also, don't forget to bang that subscribe button so you can join the YouTube community, share with a friend, hit us with a thumbs up, and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for joining me. I hope you absolutely crush your league this week. Now get out there and make some game picks.